Welcome to the WIHS Journal. On the broadcast today, we'll be talking to the head pastor of the Glastonbury Community Church. They're having two sessions, one this month in March 29th, talking about community inclusion of persons with disabilities. And then again in April, they'll be talking about a very serious topic, trafficking, human trafficking. Well, on the broadcast with us today, we had the pleasure of meeting Pastor Matt in the WIHS studios. And Pastor Matt, thank you for coming into the WIHS studios today.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah. Which takes place on March 29th, is a conversation in community inclusion of persons with disabilities. And you mentioned that it was being hosted by Urban Alliance. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, Urban Alliance is a great organization that's giving grants to different churches and nonprofits. And they are sponsoring a series of community conversations on mental health topics and associated topics. So we have done a number of them before. And one of our members, Sal Ficara, came to me and said, we need to do one on including people with disabilities. There's a number in our congregation and a number in the community. We need to talk about this.
Well, thank you for that. So what do you think that anyone with a disability would benefit from this, or even family members? What kind of stuff will they be targeting on?
It's all about including people and recognizing people as people and not just as disabilities that they have. It's about identifying everyone's giftedness, their uniqueness, and what they have to offer, and that we as a church have a unique role we can play, and including people, getting to know one another. So it's for people with both intellectual or physical disabilities, or both, or people who want to care and don't know how. It can ask questions in an environment that's safe, and you won't feel judged for asking the wrong kind of thing, and having some expertise. We're having George and Ducharme and Pat Beeman of an organization that specialize in this, that can give some answers.
Oh, awesome. And what would you hope that God would do through an event like this?
I think what we would like God to do is just bring to light what the church is to be about. And you know, when Jesus says, when you give a banquet, invite everyone, especially the poor, the lame, those who tend to be excluded by the world are those who are included by Jesus. And so we need to practice that and remember that and be aware of how God sees us, not as the world's values put these labels on us. So I'm hopeful that we have a chance to do that for our world and as a witness to our community, but also give people some practical tools that they can take home and use.
So the two presenters that you have, what do you think gives them the expertise to talk about this?
Pat Beeman and George Ducharme have been with an organization called Communitas in Manchester, and they've for decades worked with families to best support not just those who are disabled, but the entire family system that comes around them. And so they have insights on what is helpful and what's not, what caregivers need. And George has also taught extensively. He has he has numerous PhDs.
Okay, yeah.
And he's taught, he teaches, he may even teach now at Manchester Community College on this very issue. So, our parishioner, Sal Ficara, said George and Pat would be ideal.
Yeah, that's awesome. So tell our listeners a little bit about you and your church, the Glastonbury Community Church.
Yeah. Glastonbury Community Church is a small church in Glastonbury. As you might expect, it's an evangelical free church, which is a small denomination of those who believe in the Bible. And so we've been around for a number of years. I've been at the church for 9 years with my wife and now 4 kids.
Wow.
And so, yeah, we keep busy with doing all different kinds of ministries. It's very much a family atmosphere.
That's great. Well, we're glad to have you here at WIHS. So now the first event you were talking about again is community inclusion of persons with disabilities, and that takes place Sunday, March 29th from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Mm-hmm. And we hope that people will come out, and if they have somebody with a disability they know, they can come out and support that. But you do have another event coming up also, which is something that is prevalent, unfortunately, here in Connecticut, which is trafficking.
Yeah. So with this series on community conversations, we want to discuss other issues that are in the dark and need to be brought into the light. And this issue of human trafficking has come across our path in different ways. We hear different stories in the news, but a number of Christians have come together in Connecticut tackling this issue. And there's a brand new safe house for women who have been caught in this this web of deceit and addiction and all the things associated with sex trafficking. And they have just completed building this house, and they want to get the word out to say what's going on in our community and how we can support women who have fallen into this. Absolutely. So what day does that take place? That takes place on Sunday, April 26th, also from 6 to 7:30 p.m. And we want to offer information, support, prayer, because this does impact many people and many of the associated things, the epidemic of pornography, all kinds of addictions. Trafficking really touches on. You know, you don't realize that all kind of that all ties in together when you think about the evil spirits and that how they're affecting our people here in Connecticut. Yeah. Last year we did a conversation on opioids, and that fits right in too with what happens with addictions and breakdown of the family. It all runs together. It's an awful cocktail that the devil likes to use. Yeah. So if you're wondering about this conversation, I have Pastor Matt Samuelson from the Glastonbury Community Church talking about special events that they have at their church to bring awareness to. So you mentioned the last one was the opioid, right? Mm-hmm. How did that go, and what kind of testimonies or turnout? Oh, it was great. We got the local police were involved and different community organizations, both Christian and secular, came together to talk about the issue of the opioids. A mother talked about her own son who, growing up in a great suburban school system, got hooked and nearly died, and then is doing better. We had people come out from a Christian rehab center, give testimony to what Jesus had done. It was a wonderful thing. Politicians came. Wow. It was a wonderful event. And so that's the kind of thing we want to do. I think people are looking for answers to these hopeless, quote unquote, problems that the world is dealing with. And the gospel has answers, and we can provide a safe place for people to talk about these things. So that's what we're trying to do with all these kinds of issues, bring things to the light. That's great. Well, I enjoyed hearing about your next event that's happening on March 29th and also in April, opioid conversation that you guys had. Anything that I left out that you would like our listeners to know? No, we're just here to support one another. Here in the body of Christ in Connecticut, we need to do different things. And so we are glad if you go to different churches, come, bring your friends, and we need to bind ourselves together to the Lord and let Him do His thing. Yeah. So all these years, you being a pastor and, over the body of Christ, what do you think that people today need to know, about God? People need to know that He loves them and He is real, and that He made things not by accident, and He made things perfect by His design. It's time to stop rebelling. It's time to give up and say, okay, I may not like one or two different things about me or the world, but the best way isn't to resist God, but to join Him, to surrender ourselves to Him, to surrender ourselves to His love. And to know it's not about me and my desires, it's about Him. Once again, that was Pastor Matt Samuelson from the Glastonbury Community Church. March 29th, Community Inclusion of Persons with Disabilities is their conversation.
sponsored by the Urban Alliance, and then again in April, talking about human trafficking, two very serious topics. For more details, call WIHS at 860-346-1049. The opinions expressed are those of the participants, not necessarily those of a staff and management of a station. I'm Anissa Porticelli. The WIHS Journal is public affairs from WIHS, Middletown,